Welcome to One on One with the Grim One. I am your host, the Slayer of Poses, the Joan Rivers of black metal, Grim One to all, the Necrosexual. And joining me from across the waves, we'll say something is thrashing in the state of Denmark. We have Michael Stützer from Artillery. Michael, how the hell are you, baby?
I'm ready, fine. I'm ready to kick some fucking fresh ass.
So, Michael, you have a new album, X. How the hell does it feel to unleash another death thrashing heavy metal album?
Which been wonderful, Love playing music can be better than making albums, and of course we can too at the moment. So we have to make albums to have a little bit good things. But it's really cool to have the 10th album out with Artillery. That's really tough. In 1982, we started it all. So yeah, it's really cool.
So tell me, Michael, how old were you back in 1982 in the early days of Artillery?
In the early days, I was about 20, around 20, when it all started.
Did you ever think in 1982 that you would still be playing in Artillery 40 years later?
No, never, because if people had told me at that time, you will make 10 albums, you will tour in 63 countries, and, I would never believe them. So, yeah, that's really fun, and that's really great, It's so fucking awesome to get out and play for the people. So we're waiting so the Corona shit is over and out of the tour again.
What's your relationship with your parents like?
With my parents?
Yeah.
And so when I started to play music, they were really supporting, and they don't live anymore, but they always supported me, and never said, oh, that's noise, or what are you doing, man? But they always supported us, my brother, and said, okay, you want to play music, keep on going.
Well, in my case, I was an only child, so my parents often thought it was a phase I was going through. But that's one thing about Artillery that stands out in my mind, because back in the day, and for many years, it was you and your brother Martin, who, for those watching at home, unfortunately, Martin passed away a few years ago. So my condolences to you and your family on that. But you guys made some great music in the process. So what was it like having a sibling as your brother in arms playing bass guitar and guitar, as a creative duo, brotherly connection?
I think in the start it was not, always, what the thing we was doing. But when we get older, we was more cooperative with each other, and we have when we reunited in 2007, was really tough, because we really wanted to do this now. And in the old days, there was only, like people all want to go different ways. Some of the guys in the band wanted to play a lot live. Some of the guys didn't want to play live. So that was really tough times there. But the relationship with Morten and me has been so good up to his date, and Morten supported us so all the way he could. He didn't play with us live since 2016, but he was still with us in the studio. And the last record, The Face of Fear, he was also there making songs and contributing with leads and stuff like that.
Over the years, was there ever any sibling rivalry? Like, I can play the faster solo, or I can write the heavier riff, or how was that dynamic?
No, not really, because Morten has always been the best rhythm guitar player. He said I was the best lead guitar player. So we try to unite it all, and as he got older, he get better and better. I got a better rhythm guitar player, and he got a better lead guitar player. So we kind of unique, lots more in the older days, So that was a good cooperation.
So your new album, X, you now have a new guitar player filling Martin's mighty shoes. So going into the studio, writing this new batch of songs, what was that like without your brother? Did you feel his presence in his absence? Tell me about that creative process.
Yeah, it was really tough. That's the only one thing in my life when I wanted to think about, do you really want to continue playing, because he didn't was there anymore. It was really tough there. But Crane is a very good guitar player, and we have known each other for a long time, and he did help us live. So we succeeded, I think, in the cooperation and making the songs. It was really cool. So yeah, I still miss Morten a lot, and but you can't do anything about it. And Morten always told us, I said, don't stop artillery, keep on going. So that's what we do.
Indeed, the show must go on.
Yeah,
So,
you say that. But I still love to play, you know. I love to go out to play live and talk to people, and you know, they support us so much, even if you play in Russia, if you play in Turkey, if you play in South America, or when we did some of our US tours, you know, people are so damn good in for heavy. You know, they're always supporting and always very, very good friends and good people.
what's your favorite artillery song to break out live in concert?
Oh, that's tough because, you know, I always have a favorite on every album, you know, but I still think, you know, songs like, for example, The Almighty for the first album, Terror Squad, By the Heritage Comaniac, When Death Comes, Legions, yeah, Live by the Side. That's some of my favorites. And the Face of Fear song, you know, I really love to play them live, and people really like to hear them. So it's really tough for me to say what, but maybe they're going to change with the new album. I don't know. I can hope on that.
This is one-on-one with the Grim One. So every episode I ask my guest about one album that holds a special place in your heart. So tell me, Michael, what album for you really touched your soul?
That's really tough, but I would say Black Sabbath, Sabotage, because that record really changed a lot in my musical direction, you know, and I always loved Black Sabbath, but there could be many albums. I also really like Exodus, Bounded by Blood, for example. I really have a big, you know, like for music, you know. So, but I think it will be a Black Sabbath album. I had to pick only one album, so Sabotage.
You did a lot of drugs when they were making that record.
Yeah, but still also lots of good music.
Yeah, right. Sometimes that's how you got to bring out the riff sauce. Would you say that Black Sabbath was the band that popped your heavy metal cherry?
Yeah, I think so. The Black Sabbath and bands like Uriah Heep and Grand Funk Railroad really opened my eyes for the heavier direction in metal. And then later came, of course, Judas Priest, Iron Maiden, Metallica, Exodus, Pantera. Yeah, you know. So yeah, but Black Sabbath was one of the first really legend bands to open my mind.
How did that evolution, I guess, from your sound into that faster, more technical, thrashy direction? Was that something that you and your bandmates were like, we're going to do this, or did it just sort of happen and you went with it?
You know, at that time we started to play faster metal. People really could connect what it was. You know, they didn't call us thrash metal; they called us a punky Motorhead in the start. And that was funny because a song like "A Faster Shark" from Accept was one of those songs where we sat down and said, "Hey, we want to sound more like that." And then we started to go that way. You know, so yeah, Except Fast as Shark was one of those songs who really turned it on. And of course, the new wave of British heavy metal started. Many of those bands, Angel Witch, Tank, and stuff like that. CBH moved from a more punky way of side. And also old bands like faster songs like Exciter from Judas Priest, and also bands like, of course, Exciter from Canada was also one of the first bands where we could see the more tempo things. Like we said, we want to do it a little bit faster, you know. Anvil and bands like that also had a little bit of input. But I would say Fast as a Shark would accept was the first song who really said, now we're going to play some more fast.
What's one thing that you think made Artillery or makes Artillery unique from the other thrash metal bands of their time?
One important thing is we come from Denmark. That's we don't have so many bands to collect with and unite with as maybe the American bands, the German bands, for example. And I also think that Artillery was very inspired by the Middle East way of playing music. And we also have we grew up with the old bands like Black Sabbath and stuff like that, combined them with the aggression and the hook lines for Metallica, early Metallica, Exodus, and bands like that. And and then we got artillery. I think that's the way. And also being Danish, I think is very good because we don't have so many bands we could listen to in Denmark and compare us to. I think, for example, if you take the Bay Area in the United States, they had a lot of bands coming from there, good bands, Heathen, Forbidden, Exeter, of course, and so on, and they're more united maybe, and more try to sound like each other than maybe artillery would try to do that.
Are there any thrash metal bands or just heavy metal bands these days, 40 years since the inception of artillery, are any bands out there that really impress you that you're listening to currently?
Yeah, I still buy a lot of records. I have 4,000 CDs and I have 1,000 vinyls. So I still buy a lot of music. And I said, if you take the first scene, newcomer bands like Evil, for example, I think have some really good stuff going on. I just bought the new Heathen, very good songs on that, and the Last Testament I really like. I still think, of course, many of the old bands still do good records, but in Denmark we also have a band called Demoralizer, who's really good, and we had a band called Impalers, who also was going the right way, I think. So I still think there's coming a lot of newcomers who have the energy and they wanted to play that kind of music, and thrash metal people are some of the most loyal people in the world. They really support the bands.
Well, thank you, Michael, for delivering the goods and dropping some heavy artillery. And to all you freaks watching out there, check out the new Artillery album X, coming out to you on Metal Blade Records. Until then, this has been another Dispatch with the Necrosexual. Hey, thanks a lot for joining me, Michael. I'll see you in the pit, baby.